Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Got a shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers. Let's go.
And welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast Spotlight Edition. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and this is going to be a generic intro. It is, and you're going to be like, why, Mark? Why are you going to tell us a lot about your host this week? Your host, your guest. Holy shit, Mark, stop drinking the night before your interviews. Why are you not going to start telling you everything about our guest this week? Because he's got a 16-year career. That would be the whole podcast itself. And I want you guys to deep dive with me because I didn't do a lot of homework. I'm not doing a lot of homework anymore because I love the realism of finding out what this man has done. The Scarecrow, the Night Demon himself, is coming on the show. We do have one thing in common, but again, I'll save that for the interview. Guys, collar and elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all that sweet stuff that Al Snow has. We have a promo code. I don't know if you've been listening for 4 years, but we have a promo code. It's called Can Crushers. All one word, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers. You'll save 10%. Don't forget to check out our new clothing website at What a Maneuver. Go to What a Maneuver, type in Can Crushers. You'll find all the cool stuff there. And head over to our own website, cancrusher69.wixsite.com/Can Crushers. You'll find some more stuff there, along with everything we've ever done. We'll touch more on everything we've done, but here comes Al Snow to tell you more about Collar and Elbow, and then I have the Scarecrow on the line, and I'm not sure how this is going to go. It could be bad for me. It could be a learning experience. 16 years, folks. That's a lot.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Guys, I told you I was a little bit scared about this interview going into this because 16 years in the business, that's overwhelming enough. But this guy is from the deepest Kornfield, and check out the way he spells corn. I'm really excited about that. He is the Night Demon, the Scarecrow. Welcome to the podcast, Scarecrow. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I appreciate you bringing me on.
No problem. Guys, his resume, and this is just a little bit. 4-time Cruiserweight champ, 2-time Tag champ, 1-time U.S. champ, multi-time Heavyweight champ, current IPW champ, and holy shit, you've already been inducted into a Hall of Fame in 2019. So you have a litany of accolades. You've been in the business a little bit, so let's talk wrestling.
Heck yeah, most definitely.
2006, you got into it, and we'll do the rewind, but 2006 you got into it. Essentially, why? Because there's so many stories. Don't say because you loved it when a kid, because we're going to get to that. That's a generic answer. We all love wrestling as a kid.
Yeah.
What was your deciding factor in 2006 to say, I'm doing this?
Well, back in 1998, I was sitting there watching WCW with one of my cousins, and because he did the independent wrestling, and I looked at it, I was like, that's what I want to do. And he looked at me and straight up and said, you won't last 2 years. And I moved to Indiana and went through high school, got done with that, and then found a promotion and got into Hoosier Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So right off the bat, do you hate your cousin, or do you bring it up that, you know, he says you won't make it 2 years and you're 16 years deep? Do you remind him of this all the time?
Whenever I talk to him, he always asks me, "Hey, you still wrestle?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And mine wasn't like the typical. I love the business and I want to do it. I love wrestling. It was I wanted to prove my cousin a point.
Right. That's exactly what I got out of it right off the bat, is that you're telling somebody you can't do it, and that's enough driving force to get into it right off the bat, without a doubt. Yeah. All right, so let's do the rewind then. Was he the first person that introduced you to wrestling, or was it, mom, dad, grandpa, Uncle Joe, somebody like that?
It was my oldest cousin, because it was my oldest cousin is the one that introduced me to wrestling, and then his brother is the one that said that to me, but it was my oldest cousin George. He introduced me to WCW, and I was always a Sting guy.
No kidding.
Back in the 80s. And that's when we would wrestle in the backyard, that's who I would be, is Sting. And then it was fun back in the day, but it was my cousin George that introduced me to wrestling.
When did you find, because we all saw the big stuff. I remember watching NWA as a kid, WWF, WWE, WCW, all of that. When did you legit find indie wrestling, though?
I found independent wrestling back when I was a senior in high school. I had a buddy of mine, Donnie. He goes by Donnie Idol now. He was sitting in front of me in one of our math classes, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got into professional wrestling." I'm like, "What?"
As a senior? Holy shit!
Oh, he was a junior in high school. I was a senior. And he was told me that. I'm like, what? No way. And then I happened to be standing in line with my dad to get I want to say Backstreet Boy tickets for my little sister.
No, it was for you. I'm a Backstreet Boys fan. Do not admit that. No. That's going to be something I write on the tag already. You brought up the Backstreet Boys.
But we were standing in line to get tickets for my sister for that concert, and I happened to see Jerry Wilson, the owner and promoter of HPW, and I was like, how do I get into that? And then my dad's like, no, you're gonna get hurt, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I want to try it. And then unfortunately I didn't get into it right away because I ended up having a child at a young age, and with my ex-wife, and so I had to wait until like late 2005, and then that's when I got in my training, and then had my debut in September of 2006. So yeah.
Well, the world hits. Trust me, I completely understand. So did you go to Hoosier for your training, or did you go elsewhere?
Yeah, I went to I waited, and I got a job working at Big Lots, and that's why I ran across Donnie Idol. And I was like, "Hey, you still wrestling?" He said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you want to get into it?" And I said, "Yeah." Hook me up with your promoter or whatnot. He's like, "I'll get him to come in tomorrow." And then then Jerry Wilson showed up and said, this is how much I'll charge you, which was pretty generous and cheap. And he's like, and then, because I knew Donnie personally, and he's like, I'll make you a cruiserweight and we'll start retraining next month. And I went from there and started doing it. And then, but Jerry Wilson, the owner of HPW, Hoosier Pro Wrestling, is where I started my career.
So how long in training before you had your first, and I just realized this probably a couple weeks ago, how long before you had your first fan match? Because I know that there's training matches as well. But when was the first time you came through the curtains and there was millions and millions of people out there going, apeshit crazy to see you?
Well, I didn't get the training matches or anything like that. I was trained by Ox Harley, so if you messed up, he'd let you know.
Yeah.
But my first match was September of 2006, and it was, against Donnie Idol. He was face, I was heel, and I come through that curtain scared as hell. Didn't know what to do. I came out on top. I won the match, and then that just, it started a feud. So from that match on, I started wrestling every single month after that, and it was probably 6 months. I went through 6 months of training, and then
that's quick. That's quick.
Yeah, and because I took to it, because I used to do it when I was a little kid in the backyard with my cousins, and I learned that much, and then had my first match 6 months after I started training, and then wrestled against Donnie Idol, and he got me in the business. And I always said, when I'm ready to be done, I want to wrestle him and finish my career against him.
Kind of bookmark it,
yeah. Because I started with him, and I wanted to finish my career with him.
So much came out of that my mind's processing right now. Let's go back to you doing essentially backyard wrestling as a kid. First and foremost, I have to know, did you have your own cardboard championships like we all did when we were children?
No, we didn't. We used like weight belts.
Oh,
to
wow!
make them look
You guys were better than us then. Never mind. You guys were much better than us.
Yeah, but we basically. We didn't use a trampoline or anything. We just straight up did suplexes on the ground, body slams, you name it. We put a blanket down on the ground, and we just went at it.
I like that better. We didn't use trampolines either. And we just, we found 4 trees, so those were our ring posts, and put up a piece of string, which was ropes, and we just made it do with that in somebody's yard. Yeah, so the trampoline stuff is, oh, come on, that's for the weak, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm not starting a fight at all. So how young were you doing this? Middle school, high school?
That was elementary and middle school, basically.
Any broken bones from that? Because for 4 straight summers, I was in a cast because of backyard wrestling, and my parents loved it.
Honestly, I never broke a bone ever until I got older.
Oh, I was gonna say ever. Yeah. That's dumb luck, and I don't mean that meaning that you're dumb or anything. But wow, good for you.
I broke a bone in 2009 when I was in the wrestling ring.
Of course, yeah. The safest place to break it compared to backyard wrestling, that's where you break it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get the training and everything, and I know you have the concept of it, but do they try to blow you up to see if you belong in the business? Because we hear that all the time.
Yeah, like my trainer would have us run the ropes for like 2 to 3 minutes at a time. It was all about pacing yourself, and then and chops. If we couldn't take chops or back forearms, dude, we wasn't made for the business. But I kept showing up every single month because it's something I wanted, because I wanted to prove my cousin a point. So, but yeah, they tried to blow me up. I mean, I gained weight now, so I get blowed up pretty quick now. So,
well. We're all a little bit older. We're all a little bit older. What was your hardest thing during training? The ropes would be it for me. I would think.
Yeah, it was the ropes, trying to count my steps, trying to get it correct, down correctly. But, it took me a few months to get it. So, but yeah, I'd have to say running the ropes too.
Did the psychology come easily,
Yep.
knowing you put your own storylines together in the backyard?
Yeah, pretty much. With the psychology, Flash Flanagan, when he started coming back to HPW, he helped me out with psychology a lot too. So, but it was like easy, and that's what I like about wrestling. The style of wrestling I was trained in was old school and storytelling. You got to tell a story to get over, and that's what I'm into now is getting the story over and protecting that main event.
Agreed. And I'm not even people at IPW that I don't know or anything. I'm probably going to make myself look like a total jackass and hate me when I get there, but I respect that you can do flips and fly 20,000 feet in the air and do that. I can't. I'm a 44-year-old freaking garbage man. I cannot do that. Cool. I will give you a hand. But if you don't have a story of why you're doing flips and everything, you're going to put this 44-year-old man to bed real quick.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I try to tell the young guys that come and wrestle, that want to wrestle me. And I'm like, hey, I'm not into that flippy stuff, so don't even bring that to the game. We're gonna do this my way because I'm a vet, and they respect it. And then they come, and then we tell a story in the ring, and that's what I like about it. So.
Are you doing any training with the young guys? Let's break the fourth wall for a second. Come on, we all know. Do you take some pride and take somebody underneath your wing and train with them? Have it either be 15, 20 minutes before a show, or are you actually a head trainer somewhere?
I was a head trainer for Hoosier Pro Wrestling until he COVID hit, and unfortunately he ended up closing the doors. But I was a head trainer there for a while, and then I went over to APW out here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I was going through some personal stuff in my life, and my best friend in the whole world, like Butcher Manson, reached out to me and said, "Hey, bro, why don't you just go ahead and get your head straight and come out to APW?" Help us train some of these guys. And then I did that. And then WCWO reached out to me, and up in Indianapolis, I went out there, and then as soon as I walk in, one of the kids was like, "Hey man, what's it like? How's it look like if I go punch this way?" And then he'd show me, and then I would get in the ring, and I'd start giving my, ideas. And I mean, you got to tell a reason why you're throwing that punch. If you're going to go and do your finisher, work on that body part where your finisher is going to be at. Like if your finisher has to deal with the neck, work that neck. If your finisher's got to work with the arm the whole match. You got to tell the story.
Yep.
And then they, I'll be sitting there watching their matches, and then there's times you'll hear me cussing up a storm because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And there's times where I'll be, "Oh my God, that's freaking awesome." And then I come back and give them a hug. Like, so one kid, Jesse Winchester from WCWO, Warrior Pro Wrestling that I work at up north. I took that kid under my wing. We wrestled against each other, but I took the kid under my wing to give him some advice, and got mad respect for him. And then he got hurt, and he went out there on the mic as a heel and said he had to give up the title so he can go get better. Blah blah blah. I was the first one back to that curtain to give him a hug because I felt bad for him because I've been there. And most recently, I was there in November in a position where I had to stop wrestling for a little bit. So,
okay, we'll get to that. I have a litany of questions, and again, concussions on my end. And I'm not writing them down either, so that's how bad it is today. Do you take more pride that what you have done in the ring for yourself, or helping people like Jesse, knowing that he's got a little bit of you going forward?
I take pride in helping the younger generation. Whatever I've done in the ring, I've already done. My biggest thing is keeping the business the way, I want to bring the business the way I brought in, and when I leave, I want it to be better. And that's why, me doing what I do now is I want to give my knowledge to these younger guys saying, hey, let's do it this way. This tells a reason why this is a better way, because you don't want to, taint your character, basically. So
yeah, I agree. 2006 when you came into wrestling, kayfabe was dead then as well, but essentially it has been decomposing in the ground now for 20 some years, or if not more. But there's been changes from 2006 until 2022. Do you think it's getting better or worse for the wrestling community?
I try to stay out of the backstage politics and drama. But to me, the way us older vets are teaching these younger guys is trying to get it to be better. So in my opinion, it's starting to get better. It's just people's got to stay out of drama and out of backstage politics.
Because around that, a few years ago, you heard that, all locker rooms were just a toxic wasteland. That it was just me, F you, me. It's taken the vets like you, and I've spoken to a couple recently, to, I'm not saying strong arm or bully, because but at least give your wisdom to say, hey, we're all at, show XYZ to make money.
Yeah.
Stop being a complete jackass and let's work together, right?
Yeah. Like there's several promotions that I've been to that I will not go work for ever again. And there's other promotions that I love going to, which, one of them is WCWO. As soon as you walk in that locker room, it's like a family. That's all they care about is each other. IPW up there in Muncie. I've known the promoter and known the booker for a very, very long time. And I would literally give the shirt off my back to those guys because the way they treat their people, it's a family. That's what this locker room is all about, is being like family. Go out there and have fun. Shake each other's hands. That's what I love about it. Like APW, same thing out in Cincinnati, or Rocket Pro Wrestling up in Joliet, Illinois, my hometown. Like I said, those promotions right there, I'll put on top because they make you feel like you belong there. But like MPG, I will never go work for because of backstage things, and the promoter likes to put himself over 100% every single match that he's out there at every single match. That's like one promotion that I recommend nobody go to. So
duly noted. Duly noted. Okay, so we're gonna revert back to that first match again, because now that I looked at my notes as you were talking, you said you were scared, shitless essentially, and normally, what I've been told or what I've seen and everything, the heel calls the match. You're the heel. You're greener than shit, essentially. Did you call your first match?
No.
I was gonna say, no. Holy God.
The way they started out whenever I first started was, I get with my opponent and we go through the match before the show starts. And I was like, okay, I could do that. Okay. And then, then it was our turn to go out, and he went out, or no, I went out first, but I come walking through the curtain, I screamed, hey, and that's all I said, because I didn't know what else to say. I was scared, like, what the hell? And everybody's looking at me like, who's this guy? And then I'm getting in the ring, and then Donnie Otto comes out, and then he gets a pop because he's a big-time babyface, and
Donnie freaking Idol, yeah.
Yeah. So when we go and have our match, and and then he puts me in his finisher, and I put my foot on the rope, and this was before Scarecrow days, mind you, and this is when I was going by Fast Eddie, and I essentially stood up, put him in my finisher, and which is like a full Nelson rock bottom slam, basically.
Okay.
And pinned him 1, 2, 3, and his foot was on the rope, but the ref didn't see it, and that's how I won. And
Nice.
then
You're a dick from day one. I love you already.
Yeah. And then I was like in shock, and everybody came back there, and Donnie looked at me and said, "Dude, that was one hell of a match. Good job." And gave me a hug, and and that right there set the tone. I'm like, okay, I got something here. And then I get told I'm being a babyface next month and wrestling Donnie Idol, and Donnie Idol was a heel. And so, and then it's just started a feud with him. I was, back and forth, babyface heel, babyface heel, babyface heel. I'm like, Jesus, man, what am I doing?
All right.
Changing me.
So you changed babyface heel more times than Big Show in your
Probably.
first couple of months of wrestling.
Yeah.
What's that do for building your character, though? Because we just saw you cheat to win, and you were wrestling only once a month then, right?
Yeah.
So I roll into the next show, and I know, I remember this guy, he cheated to win.
Yeah.
Now you're instantly over. How can you, over as a babyface, how does that affect your personal psyche, because you're training to build yourself as a heel?
Yeah. It kind of messed with me a little bit. It's like, man, okay, this, for me, it didn't make sense. I was heel last month and
Not at all.
Face.
Yeah.
And then the promoter was like, no, we want you to start having a feud with this guy, Donnie Idol, and he's getting ready to turn heel tonight, so we need you to be big. I was like, okay, but that still don't make sense to me. And I mean, we made it work. It actually was one of my favorite matches, was working with Donnie Idol, and and then it was like I was a babyface for a few months, and then I turned back to heel, and then back and forth, and it's like, okay, but essentially I was a heel for most of my career, and it stayed like that until I changed my name in 2014 to Scarecrow. But it was hard a lot to try to get over, because I didn't know if I was coming in as a babyface or if I was coming in as a heel. And then after that, I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to be heel. Just go from there.
Yeah, it seems like if you're on the road, you're in your home promotion, whatever it may be, at this time or that time, that you should or will have a storyline, so you have to build that character. But if you go on the road, it's different. If you'd come to Pennsylvania right now, you could be thrown in either way, heel or babyface, and we'd be like, who the hell's Scarecrow? Because some of us have not seen you. And you could make it work. But to bounce back and forth in your home territory, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
So, essentially, we're going to get to Scarecrow. What made you do that change to Scarecrow? Because the love of Sting?
No way. Actually, a lot of people think it's from Sting, but it's not.
Well, then there goes my comparison. Okay.
I was in a group and we had permission to use it. It was Juggalo World Order, and us Juggalos like to paint our face. And at the time, I was a heel. My brother-in-law at the time, cousin Cooter Clampett, was a heel, and then we had another guy in our group. And Cooter came up. He's like, "Hey man, why don't we just start painting our faces?" I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, awesome, cool." So my favorite independent hip hop artist is Boondocks, and I went off of his paint scheme, but I added white to it. And so I started painting my face like Boondocks from Psychopathic Records, who is now with Magic Ninja Entertainment. I started painting my face like him, and then and it was only supposed to be for a couple months. Flash Flanagan said, "No, this is you. We're running with this. And we're turning you face." That right there just made skyrocketed my career.
That was you forever. That's it.
Yeah, because of Flash Flanagan. Well, it started with Cooter Clampett saying, "Hey, why don't we paint her face?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." Then Flash Flanagan loved it and said, "No, we're keeping that on you and we're turning you face." And then from there on, dude, my career skyrocketed. I've only maybe been heel 2 or 3 times as Scarecrow, but I get over now as a babyface, and I've changed my look up a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Looking at pictures, a little bit, but not much.
Yeah. It's black and white still. Sometimes I'll put red in it, red and black. But essentially, I base my character off of Edge and Cody Rhodes.
Whoa. Okay, stop. Well, I'm wrong fucking completely.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You tell me who, and I'll tell you who I've written down. So you have Edge and Cody Rhodes, and I was nowhere fucking close.
Yeah. I base my character off of Edge mainly, and then I also do some stuff from Cody Rhodes. Base my character off him a little bit. I was doing like the Scorpion Death Drop and stuff like that, but I quit doing that because people started, "Oh, you go there, you're like Sting, blah blah blah," and I kind of wanted to shy away from that. No, that's not what this character came from. But it's mostly Edge, Miz, and Cody Rhodes.
You'll probably hang up on me. So here is who I have. Of course, I saw some death drops and stuff. And if you're a wrestling fan, you see black and white paint. I'm sorry, you think of Sting right off the bat. He's iconic, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I have Sting. I did see some of the red, so I thought, oh, he must be a Muta fan as well. So I threw Muta in there, and I did hear the whole Juggalo thing. So to me, the Juggalo, going way back, I thought you were part like Public Enemy as well. So those were the 3. Nowhere close, so I really suck on you. Wow.
I had mad respect for those 3. I mean, Muta, I would have never thought of Muta. So, I mean.
Well, once you did the red a couple times, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, mad respect there.
Yeah. Yeah, Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, I didn't see Cody Rhodes at all. I'm sorry.
I for the last year and a half, I started using the Crossroads and Disaster Kick and the Gory Drop. So
okay. One more thing about wrestling, then we'll take a quick break, find out more about you. But how much wrestling do you watch now? And like tape study, are you pulling from Cody, or do you still love going back to essentially some of the 80s or earlier to grab some stuff?
Honestly, I really don't watch wrestling because I live the business, and if I watch it, I will sit there and I will call the spots because I pretty much I know what's going on. I know
you're that guy.
Signs.
You're that guy.
And like if I take my girlfriend's son to like say Monday Night Raw, and he'd be looking at me, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry. Go ahead and enjoy the show. I'm just, sorry, man."
You're a buzzkill for this poor kid.
Yeah, I'm sitting there calling these damn spots before they happen because I could tell by telegraphing. And they're like, "Oh, you getting ready for a shoulder tackle? Oh, you getting ready for a body shot? What are you doing?" "Oh, my bad." Just pay attention to the show, not me.
So if I win SummerSlam tickets, it's going to be in Nashville. I'm not calling you because you would ruin it for me. Yeah. Ruin it. It's good though. You still do you do tape study from back in the day though?
Not really. It's just because I live the business, I don't really watch it anymore or even tape study. I mean, I'll go back and watch some of my matches. Like, oh man, that was horrible. I could have done better on that one, or holy crap, I'm going to continue doing that. That got me popped, But I mainly rewatch my matches just to see what I could do better or not to do.
Yeah, essentially 16 years in the business. I know stuff can change and there's tweaks and everything, but what haven't you seen essentially in 16 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's pause and let's find out more about Fast Eddie, essentially. You have days off, legit days off. You're not going to the gym. You're not doing anything. What are you doing? Are you just relaxing, video gaming, music, and hanging out with ruining the poor child's wrestling event? But other than that,
pretty much, I'm a family guy. I like to be. That's probably why if I was ever offered a contract, I'd probably turn it down because I want to be home with the family. And then if when I'm home, I'm either spending time with the girlfriend and her son, or whenever I get my daughter, or hanging out with my oldest daughter. Because I got 4 daughters, so
good for you.
Yeah. So, but my youngest daughter comes out every other weekend, and then I got my girlfriend's son here, and my girlfriend, so we try to find something to do out here in middle of nowhere, but we still find something to do. Watch movies, play video games. But I'm a big music guy, so I like to listen to old music from AC/DC, Meatloaf, Bon Jovi, Europe.
Finally,
Poison.
somebody that's hit my era.
Yeah, I grew up on all that type of stuff, and I'm also in the new generation, like with the Insane Clown Posse, all that stuff. But I like the 80s, early 90s rock and roll.
It's about time. About time. After 4 years, somebody's actually, besides me, mentioned Bon Jovi or Europe or somebody on this podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have to thank my cousin that got me loving wrestling or watching wrestling. I have to thank him because he was into like listening to White Snake, Europe, Bon Jovi, Poison. I used to come when we did that backyard wrestling. I was coming out to Mama's Fallen Angel by Poison.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, that was like my all-time favorite song back in the day.
Yeah, it's still great. It's still great. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So does the family come to events with you? And in reverse back, once you start going to training, everything, mom and dad were semi okay with it?
My dad was pretty okay about it. At the time my mom and my dad wasn't together. They were split up before I was even born, but my mom wasn't too keen about it. But I was a grown ass man, so she couldn't stop me.
Right.
So, God rest her soul.
So love and support. Does the girlfriend and the girlfriend's son, and we don't have names or anything, but does the girlfriend's son say, hey, why don't you try this or why don't you try that? Does he try to help you be like a manager once in a while?
He'll throw some ideas out there for me, not all the time, because he really didn't start watching wrestling until I got with his mom last year. But he's growing to appreciate the business. So, I mean, he's 8 years old and he enjoys watching me do my craft. My girlfriend goes all the time. She goes to almost every one of my matches to support me. And that's what I like, and then I'll be in the ring doing what I'm doing, and I can hear my 9-year-old daughter screaming, go dad, go dad.
Yes. You're warming my heart already. Yeah.
And then when I won I'm not the current IPW. I should have fixed that at the beginning of the show.
Damn.
I'm not, Bobo Brazil Jr. is now the IPW heavyweight champion. But when I was the very first IPW heavyweight champion, and my stepmom literally never came to one of my shows because she didn't want to see me get hurt. That was her first time to a show when I won that title. And that title meant a lot to me because, back in November of 2019, my mom passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so that night meant everything to me. And my stepmom was there. My dad was there. A lot of my family was there, and I won that title, and my dad, my daughter, my friends, family, they all got in the ring with me, hugged me. It was like the best feeling ever that they put trust in me to carry that championship. And I dedicated that match for my mother. So
Most emotional thing you've ever done right there in wrestling was that then apparently?
No. That it was one of them. See, my mom died November 29th, 2019. I had a wrestling match that following week at HPW.
Oh, wow.
I won the cruiserweight, and I was a heel at that time. And as Scarecrow, I won the cruiserweight championship that night, and I was in tears because I had lost my mom a week before, and here I am winning a title for her, but as a heel. And it meant, and they did a 10-bell salute for me, for my mom that night. So I was an emotional wreck that night.
Yeah.
But I still went out there, did my job. Flash looked at me and said, "Sorry about your mom, but I really need you to heal up tonight." I was like, I'll try. I can't guarantee it, man, because my mom died last week. And he's like, "I got trust in you." I went out there, did what he asked me to do, and won the title. And that was the most emotional night of my career.
Wow. I just got chills from that. I love the love and support that you have from your family. My wife's not a huge wrestling fan whatsoever. There's a couple. If you listened, and I'm not going to be mad at you if you didn't, if you listened when we did the recap about the Rumble, my wife came in for the Miz and Mrs. match, or Miz and Maurice, or whatever the hell the match was. Edge and Beth. She sat and watched that match with me, and then she was so invested that her friends, Ms. and Mrs., because they know each other, they're tight, they watch each other on TV every week. She got pissed, but she does listen to every podcast, and she's like, "Oh my god, I really like this guy because she's my wife." So she, you bring up the family stories, like she's gonna give you a hug when we meet in IPW because you brought up your girlfriend and your kids and everything. You could spit on her, but she's still going to give you a hug because you're a family man. That's what she likes when we talk wrestling and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I throw up her in the room. I'm in the studio right now. I'm like, "Lady, get in the room. I got an interview." No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, God, no. It's not the Roaring 20s anymore. Or whatever.
That's the thing. Like, if I'm doing interviews, like right now, my girlfriend's not here. She's in the middle of a job interview up in Bloomington. But was a Thursday night because our show at WCW got canceled, so we did a Zoom interview. To get to know the wrestlers and blah, blah, blah. Because I took a hiatus.
Oh, that's cool. We're going to get to that, yeah.
Yeah. I took a hiatus for a few months, and so we brought that up and, just get to know me. And she respected me. She came in, and I did my interview in the living room while I was on camera. And she stayed in the room, talked to, cousin or mom or whoever. And then, she popped through a couple times. It didn't upset me or anything because she's still new to this. So like she'll respect whenever I'm doing interviews not to come and bother me, or if I'm doing a board of directors meeting for a current promotion I'm working on with a couple of friends of mine. She'll stay in the other room and not come bug me until after I'm done doing what I'm doing, because that's I'm a businessman trying to get my character over or this new company I'm working on. So,
all right.
Well.
Okay, a couple would you rather questions, and they're generic, and then I got to get to the godforsaken Preston question that everybody wants to know about, because that's all we talk about on this fucking podcast anymore. Sorry, little buddy, if you're listening to this, I did swear a couple times. Speaking of your girlfriend's little guy. If you could drink a beer with somebody, would it be Stone Cold or Hangman Adam Page?
Honestly, it'd be Stone Cold.
Yeah. That's like the given one that I just get everybody warmed up for. I love Hangman, I do, but if you're not drinking a beer with Stone Cold, you're stupid.
Yeah.
This goes back to your character. If you could pick a tag team partner, would it be Sting or Muta?
Oh man, that's tough. I'd have to go with Sting on that one.
All right, this is the one I'm going to push your buttons, and why? Because both of them are unbelievable. if you had to have somebody save your life, and get ready, this is the stupid one. Are you picking the Tin Man or the Cowardly Lion?
Oh man, I'd have to go with the Tin Man because I think the lion would take off running.
Yeah, for sure. All right, get ready. The pressing question. What kind of cereal do you eat in the morning?
I really don't eat breakfast. To me, it was kind of overrated. So I like to eat my lunch and a big dinner. So I mean, my belly can tell you about dinner. So yeah, breakfast is not a real big thing in my house because I get up so early too. So I get up at 3:30 in the morning for work.
Yeah, there's not time to eat breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
There isn't. But back in the day when you used to make your cereal, how did you make your cereal? Because there's always a caveat to that question.
I would put it in a bowl first and then pour the milk in it, and
Right.
and I was always a Raisin Bran guy though.
Really?
Or Frosted Mini Wheats.
I'd give you a frosted mini wheats, but Raisin Bran is a
Yeah.
okay. Good for you.
Yep.
Good for you. All right. You said you've been on a little bit of a hiatus. You did mention you had an injury back in November. So tell us what's going on with that. What's up? When do we expect, more? Why the hiatus? How's the injury? Fill us in on all that.
November 11th probably was the second. Well, I wouldn't say second because I dealt with divorces, but anyway,
Those are always fun too.
yeah. Probably one of the second worst days of my life. It started on Monday, and I thought I was getting a chest cold, and then I started feeling pain in my right shoulder. I didn't know what it was. I was like, whatever. Went a couple days, and then Thursday morning, like Wednesday night, I went to bed and I could not sleep whatsoever. Like November 10th, I was laying in bed, moving around. I couldn't sleep. And then I ended up getting up and getting ready for work that Thursday morning saying, screw it. And, mind you, I was, I smoked cigarettes. And I get up, get ready for work, go to the gas station, pick me up a pack of smokes, go to work. Get to work, and I'm still feeling pain in my shoulder. Like, it was like uncomfortable pain, like I had been throwing a baseball for days. And then I was like, no, I can't take this pain no more. I got to go to the emergency room. So I got a hold of my client because I work for a protection agency. And I said, hey, I'm probably going to be leaving because I got to, get this checked out. And then I called my command center and said, hey, can you get somebody in to relieve me? And they said, it'll be a little bit, just sit tight. And I'm like, no, I can't sit tight.
I'm dying over here.
Yeah. My client looked at me and said, do you think it's your heart? And I said, no, that'd be my left side. And he's like, not necessarily. I said, whatever. It ain't my heart, blah, blah, blah. I'm only 39, I get my card, I'm driving because they gave me permission to leave. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'll just go home, go sleep for a little bit, then go to the emergency room. But then my brain was telling me, no, don't do that. Go to the emergency room now, blah, blah, blah. And I don't usually think like that. Get to the emergency room, tell them, hey, I'm having a little issue with my shoulder. It's radiating my right shoulder, radiating into my right elbow. And they're like, okay, we got chest pain. I said, I never said I got chest pain. Immediately rushed me back there, put EKGs on me. Said, how old are you? I said, 39. You're too damn young to be having a heart attack. So I was having a heart attack at the age of 39.
Oh, my God.
And so they ran another EKG just to double check, drew blood, did this, did that, came back, said, our cardiologist wants to send you to St. Elizabeth in Edgewood, Kentucky, to do an angioplasty and go from there. And I'm like, what? And then I get to Edgewood, and the doctor said, I told the doctor, I was about to go home and go to sleep. He said, if you would have gone home, went to sleep, you would never woke up.
Oh, my God.
And they prepared me. They told me what could happen, what might happen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, man, I was scared shitless. And they got me prepared for the surgery. And, my girlfriend was freaking out. My 19-year-old daughter was freaking out. I didn't want my 9-year-old daughter finding out because she lost a stepdad due to problems like that. And I was like, what do I do? My life is flashing before my eyes. And, I'm sitting here like, mom, mom, mom. I'm not ready to go. I'm not ready to go. And they got me into the emergency room. Into the surgery room. They started in my arm. And I remember a little bit. I couldn't feel anything. But then I stuck my head up. Is that my heart? I'm like, yeah. And then I laid my head back down. I saw a microphone, and I'm like, is that a microphone? And I shit you not, I was ready to sing. But I don't remember if I did because all I heard the doctor say was dose some more, and that's all I remember. And I suffered a heart attack. So I took a few months off, and I'm currently back in the ring getting, I had to get healthy. I quit smoking the day of my heart attack. I did it cold turkey. I didn't have any help whatsoever. I do have to take meds, but I'm not back at IPW full time yet. Probably won't be back until April, May, hopefully soon because I miss that place. But I am going out to WCWO, try to get my body ring ready, because that's more of a training area. But they stream it online on Facebook. But it's helping me get my body back in shape because when I did quit smoking, I did put on a little bit of weight. That's where I've been. I've had a heart attack, not a whole lot of people know, but
now everybody knows.
Family, yeah, my close friends and family know. That's what happened to me back in November. That's why I've been gone from the promotions that I've been working at.
So much as a 44-year-old man has just hit a note now. It's somber, and thanks that bringing my life to realism, Scarecrow, because this is scary. Are you taking a step back in general though now, or is this? Did the doctors tell you that you can go for bore, or maybe once or twice a month compared to 37 days a month?
My doctor that I have now, because I went through 2 different doctors, but the doctor I currently have now gave me permission, cleared me in 100% to go back, because he's like, your body more than we do, obviously. But if you get, this, stop. But I'm giving you full permission to go back, do what you're doing. And then I took it upon myself not to book myself all the time like I was. But they did tell me that my heart attack came from the stress that I dealt with from my divorces, my last divorce, because I filed for divorce because of this reason. I don't want it out there because I don't want to slander her name.
No.
It's personal stuff. I don't want to bury her, basically. But that put a lot of stress on me, and that was one of the causes of my heart attack. And my cholesterol was a little high, and then smoking was a big part of it. And when the doctor said, you got to quit smoking, we understand it's gonna take time for you to quit. And I looked at him dead in his eyes and said, I'm gonna quit right now. And I did. And so I go back next month to get my cholesterol checked, my cholesterol levels checked. So, it was an eye opener.
So what else has changed, or what else do you have in the works to change for? This is literally throw wrestling out the window. This is for your life now. And you had a heart attack. I didn't. So if I can learn something from you today, thank you for being open first and foremost about that.
Yeah.
What could save me, essentially, because again, 44, 250 pounds. I'm a garbage man, so I'm active, but you're a wrestler. You were essentially in better shape because you do this all the time. It's just
Yeah.
What are the telltale things that have you changed? Your diet completely as well too?
Yeah, I changed my diet. I don't eat red meats anymore. Period. It's straight out of the window. I either eat, if I do any meat, it's either ground turkey or plant-based meats. Um, Essentially turning into a vegetarian. I mean, I'll have cheat days and go and have, chicken or whatever. Every once in a while, I have a hamburger. I shouldn't have said red meat out completely, but I won't eat like steaks or anything like that. But it's basically straight up. I got rid of some of the stress levels. And instead of holding my problems in, I talk about my problems. That was another issue, causing the stress and problems. And then quit smoking, 100% straight up cold turkey. And I stick to my medicines, because my doctor said, do not, miss a day or anything like that. Stay on your medicines, keep taking them to keep them in your system. And so that's what I've been doing. And I feel a lot better too now that I quit smoking. I'm eating like impossible meat or plant-based meats or whatever. And to me, it tastes the same. It don't taste any different. It's just you don't have to drain the grease out. I mean,
Right.
I'll
Which
tell
is
you
half the
what,
battle
man.
anyway.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's looking at it from then before my heart attack and looking at it now, when I would make hamburger, like tacos or something, I'd go to drain the meat and, dude, I'd pull out a half bowl of grease versus when I use impossible meat now to make my tacos, I don't have to drain the damn thing at all.
Right.
So that tells you right there how much grease I was putting in my body. I was like, man, really? So,
Yeah. And on the roads, I'm sure, like I said, I don't know you personally yet, but you don't eat well on the roads when you're traveling. You just go to a 7-Eleven or a Sheetz or whatever the hell you guys have out there and just grab something. And it's not the healthiest of whatever. It's just putting, I don't even know if it's fuel in your body. It's just putting something in your body to shut it up, essentially, right? Yeah. So the smoking wasn't hard for you. You just threw the pack out and you're good to go.
Yeah, actually, I still have the pack I bought the morning I had my heart attack. And a lot of people tell me, why didn't you get rid of it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, to me, it's a reminder of what could have happened. I could have lost my life over this one pack right here. Yeah. And I'm keeping it as a reminder. And I have not opened it. It is still in its cellophane. And I will contest to this day. My former stepdad did the same thing. He didn't have a heart attack or anything. He straight up quit smoking, threw it on his dash of his car, sat there for years, never touched it. So it's basically, he instilled in me, I'm going to do the same thing. That's going to remind me what could have happened. I could have lost my life. So, and a lot of people understood after I explained them, oh, okay, yeah, maybe that is a good idea. I'm not going to throw it away.
Yeah.
Because, I need something to remind me. I've got my 4 daughters I need to think about. I've got my girlfriend. I got her son I got to think about. I got family that I need to think about. So that right there is a plain reminder what could have happened.
That's not bluntly putting it. That's your daily reminder of death. It really is. It really is. But you did touch on one more thing, and I'm a strong advocate of this because I suffer from it as well. From stress, but reverse it over one more thing. Mental health illness needs to be talked about more across the world and in professional wrestling because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, like I said, I dealt with it back in 2017 and again my recent divorce, mental health wise, like to the point where I almost tried to end myself. And a woman's not worth it, trust me. But in 2017 I didn't put myself in. My current ex-wife and her family put me in a mental hospital. And I was only supposed to be there for 2 days, but I chose to stay there, for a week, because I knew I needed the help. It took me a day or two to open up to why I was in there, because I knew what was going on behind closed doors with my ex-wife. I knew what was going on, and I just didn't want to believe it. And I opened up about it, and that's one thing about it's okay for us men. It's okay to cry. It's okay to talk about your feelings, because if you don't, you're just going to let it build up, and you're going to end up getting so stressed out to where you give yourself a heart attack, or you give yourself an aneurysm, or you give yourself a blood clot that goes into your heart or into your lungs that kills you. Talk about it, because when you talk about it, you feel a lot better. And just to get it out, I held on to a lot of stuff, a lot of anger, and I let that all out, and I felt so much better. So coming from a guy that has survived it, that has dealt with it most of his life, talk about your problems, talk about your issues, get it out there. It's okay to cry. Don't be afraid to do it. I mean, if you need to cry, call me, message me on Facebook. I will talk you out of suicide. I will talk you out of whatever. I've had a friend that reaches out to me all the time, and I literally called the police department in his town to do a welfare check on him, because I love him that much, because he's my friend. I will do the same thing. I will be there, a shoulder for you to cry on. Men, it is okay to cry.
I second that wholeheartedly. I find, and I'm not one to be ashamed, I find crying whenever is to me a great feeling, because I know I'm letting go of whatever is going on. I'm probably on some of the same meds. We don't have to get into the meds or anything, but I'm on probably some of the same meds as you. My wife is my strongest rock. I don't know what she deals with at night. Sometimes I have night terrors, and I don't remember them. And she holds me, and she just waits till I go back to sleep. And it's okay. Yep. Talk about it. Call.
Yep.
Guys, the suicide prevention number is linked to this podcast. Call them. Just text open up Facebook or Instagram or something. Text somebody. Pretend you're trolling them, and then let them know, hey man, I just I thought about killing myself. I needed somebody to talk to tonight.
Yeah.
Do it. We're all there. This community for wrestling, it will take care of you, but as a human being, I'm ruining it right now. Eddie, you are a wonderful human being for doing that. People know who you are. I try to stay a little kayfabe, but fuck it right now. Eddie Parks is a human being. He's going to look out for other people as well, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, my Facebook Messenger is always open, no matter what. It's Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. Well, I'm hardly ever on Twitter, but Instagram, whatever.
It's useless.
I'm on all platforms. Just reach out.
Yeah, we'll get to those socials again. Thank you for being opened right there. We're gonna go a little bit long because I have to hate on you for a minute, and then we have the real questions.
Alrighty.
So you're in this upcoming video game, to lighten it back up a little bit, Indie Pro 22. We don't officially have a date that it's coming out, and it's only coming out on computers, but you're in. I saw that you were in, and I'm like, yes. I submitted myself because I've done some work with OVW, IWC, Rise, everything around this area, and they put me on hold because they have to check my references. It's a fucking video game. Why can't I get in? I've announced, I've commentated, I've done this. Why am I the bad guy all of a sudden, Eddie?
That I don't know. I mean, they probably do want to verify that you worked with those name promotions, because I had to write down all my stuff when I sent the email, and that's probably what they had to do, because it took them a while for them to put me in it too. So
yeah, I'm kidding. If I get in, that's awesome. If I don't, I'm still going to get it on the computer. I like the whole concept of it where you start and it's territories. I love the whole territory thing, so that's going to be fun to play.
Yeah, definitely. That's something you don't see a whole lot of anymore. Is the territories, which the territories would still be around.
Oh, I agree. I think wrestling is bouncing back, and I know you said you don't watch it a lot. I think the whole like AEW and then Impact, there's groups that only like so much, and then there's still WWE fanboys, which I watch, but I'm not a fanboy anymore. But it's out there. There's enough wrestling that you shouldn't watch the stuff that pisses you off. Watch the stuff. There's 38 hours of wrestling on national TV a week. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't like that, watch New Japan on Roku or on streaming service. There's enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you have to hate on wrestling?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shoot, they got it on Fight TV, OVW or GCW that they just showed.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do the Independent Pro Wrestling website for pay-per-views to watch pay-per-views.
Yeah. Thunder Rosa has her title match. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got that streaming service now to where we can go and watch independent wrestling on the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I like about it. And that's what, with the company I'm trying to build up, that's what we're going to try to do.
Nice. I'd like to see that. I would like to see it. Do you guys trying to get on IWTV or like title match or something like that? Yeah. Or start your own.
We're trying to get it onto that so we can stream it for everybody to see. Hopefully going to have it launched by 2023.
Nice.
So,
that's a spoiler there for everybody else now too.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move along. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I do want to know some of the normal questions. You essentially gave me your dream match already because you want to have Idol for your last match. But okay, I respect that. Throw that out the window. Cool, you can have that as your last match. But if you could pick anybody in professional wrestling ever, who would you want it to be against? Where would you want it to be, and what's the stipulation in the match?
Honestly, it'd probably be against Edge. I'm a super Edge head. Like, I've got numerous things. I have autographs of his name on it. I literally spent $75 on a figurine with his autograph on it.
Dude, that's all right. I don't want to say how much I dropped on an AJ Lee certified picture the other day because, like I said, my wife listens to these. So, yes.
Yeah. Let's keep that a secret. But it'd have to be against Edge, and it would have to be at the iconic Madison Square Garden. And I don't know what the stipulation would be. We'd just go out and have fun. I mean, that's why I got in this business, was to have fun. So,
if you have a favorite stipulation match, what is your favorite stipulation? And it doesn't have to be against Edge. Just a completely different question. What kind of like stipulations do you really like doing?
There's a couple. I like the loser leaves town matches, or you have to quit, and then be gone for a while, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm back
in a mask or something. You really are old school. I love
it. Yeah, that's what I like. Is that's my all time right there. Is loser leaves town match, and then or like Edge did it for a while with Christian, where they dressed up in the Mexican conquistadors.
Yes,
and then I mean, I did it once. It didn't go over, but it was okay.
It's a story. It's based about a story, right?
Yep.
Best advice. And this is twofold. Best advice that you have gotten from somebody getting into professional wrestling. It could be 15 years ago. It could be yesterday.
Well, one advice, I read Brock Lesnar's book. His advice was to get in, to get out. But that's not what I'm gonna probably say. I probably have to say my trainer, keep your ears open, your mouth shut. always listen. And that's what I instilled to these students that I help train today: is keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Do as you're asked. And that's probably the best advice I'd have to give, because that's what I got.
Right. You have 2 ears for a reason and only one mouth.
Yeah. And, and then Flash Flanagan, there was one time where I was bragging, oh, I'm main event, blah, blah, blah. And then he personally called me and said, no. I know you're heel, but don't do that, because it's going to give you a bad rap, because you're going to get that, you start to get that ego. Let's not do that. Do not brag about it. And told me to shut my mouth. And I listened to him because I had that much respect for Flash Flanagan. So
your girlfriend's little guy comes up and says, hey, I want to get into professional wrestling business. And I'm glad that you have a little guy that age. Or your 9-year-old daughter, even to boot, says, hey, I want to get in professional wrestling. What do you tell them? And now you're not going to tell them, sit down and shut up yet. I mean, what are you going to tell them?
I'll simply tell them, just think about it. This is what you really want, and we'll go to the next level. Because it's not fun and games at first. It hurts. And I know my daughter my 9-year-old wants to do it, because when I take her to WCWO, we'll have a crash pad in the practice ring in the back, and she'll do a front flip off the top rope onto the crash mat.
Nice.
So that right there tells me that's, she wants to do it. She wants to do it. But if my own children want to get into it, I will be the one to train them, because I would trust myself, especially if it's, my daughter, because, a lot of these people out there, like when these females show up in the back of the locker room, you got these guys that want to hit on them and stuff like that. And,
that actually brings me to my next question. Perfect segue, by the way. If you could get rid of one thing in professional wrestling, because there's a lot of horrible stigmatisms, and I think I know which one you're going right off the bat. What are you going to say? Throw that out the window.
It's that these female wrestlers show up to do a job. They're not there to get hit on or get asked out. Some of them's got a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or whatever, and because we live in that day of age now. But they want to show up. They want to do their job. They don't want to get hit on. They don't want to be looked at like a piece of meat. And that's what, pardon my French, but that's what fucking pisses me off.
Thank you.
These guys show up, and then all of a sudden they see a girl. Oh man, she's hot, man. I want to try to get her in the hotel tonight. Blah blah blah. No, she's there to do a fucking job. Let her be. She'll come up and shake her hands, and she's not interested in showing up to get a date.
Right.
So leave her be.
Right. Thank you. Because I'm a huge advocate of women's wrestling. I think during the COVID time for WWE and even AEW, the women stole the show. And I know you said you didn't watch.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bayley, Sasha, Britt, Thunder Rosa, all were carrying promotions.
Yeah.
The guys were just stagnant.
Yeah.
Let the women do this in independent. And I know some of them, I personally know some of them, are scared to go into locker rooms because you have these sick people. And before I'm going to throw a word out or anything that I shouldn't, you have sick people that, wrestler girl X is going to be here. I'm going to try to sleep with her tonight. Dude, you're a douchebag. I hope you're never on that card again or anywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
So thank you for waving that flag with me.
Yep, 100%.
What else do I have here? Let's do your socials, because as I think of the other question, tell everybody where they can find you, merch that you have, or anything like that.
Currently, I'm with Facebook. All you got to do is do a search for Scarecrow, and on my Instagram, I'm at 2000 or Scarecrow 2005. I do have a TikTok also.
Do you really? I didn't find it yet. Son of a bitch. Are you dancing on it?
No, I don't do dances. I do like little promo videos and maybe some stupid. I got one video that's got over 168,000, and that's doing a duet. And I'm like, damn, that's a lot of views.
Yeah.
But that's Scarecrow 2005 also, and then same thing with my Twitter. But I'm hardly ever on Twitter or Instagram. So I mainly just stick to Facebook or my TikTok.
And if we push hard enough, you'll sing Bon Jovi on TikTok, right?
Yeah. If I get enough likes, yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's our goal. That's our goal,
Yeah.
guys. Head over and follow him on TikTok. He's going to sing Living on a Prayer for us at some point in the middle of the ring when I'm there so I can record it. That's the whole caveat. Now I'm a big asshole, aren't I?
Yeah, now you're putting me on the spot. So
Yes.
hopefully you're there whenever I do get there, and then I may have to do that.
I will make sure. 16 years in the business, and I don't want to be the devil's advocate. A heart attack, some mental health issues. How much longer?
I don't know. I love the business now. I love helping the kid. Like if I retire, it's just gonna be in ring retirement because I want to help out in the back. I want to be able to still spread my knowledge to these kids. Like Jason Ayers, I got a buddy that's referee for WWE. He was actually a ref of mine a couple times, and so I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah. Look what he's doing now. He went from being a ref, now he's a producer, timekeeper producer for wrestling for WWE now. He's living the dream. Just because you're not doing in-ring stuff don't mean you can do stuff behind the scenes. And that's what I want to do. Like if I'm to leave in a year or two, I'm 39. I don't want to be like, I have mad respect for Bobo Brazil Jr., Dick the Bruiser Jr., all these Dice Man, Ronnie Vegas. Like he's out now, but they do it because they love the business. They love the interaction with the fans. Will I do that? Probably not. I'll probably go maybe a couple more years because I want to help in the back, build characters and build stories, be a director, producer, or whatever. That's what I want to do.
Thoughts on ever opening either your own training facility and or organization?
Thought about doing my own training company, but financially that's going to be hard to do right now.
Understand.
I am working on something with a couple friends of mine, Daniel Strobel. We are working, and then we got a couple other guys, cousin Cooter Clampett. We are working on something called Excite Wrestling Alliance, EWA. We were wanting to launch this year, but we want to do it the right way, not rush it. And so it probably won't start until 2023. So be looking for EWA. And once EWA takes off, that's probably when I'm going to slow down on all my bookings and just focus my time on that. And I will literally be the head trainer of EWA. So I will put my focus into that. I'll still stay at IPW and WCWO, but when I'm booked at Excite, that's my pride and joy. That's going to be my baby. That's mine and Cooter and Daniel's baby. We're going to focus more on that.
And where is that going to be based out of, essentially?
We're gonna up in like Indianapolis area.
Okay.
We'll be focusing on that, but we don't want to overstep anybody. So we'll probably be working more towards like New Palestine or New Palestine, a couple other areas that don't have wrestling in it, just to build the audience. Because like I said, we don't want to step on anybody's toes. So
right. All right, this is your time. Is there something I didn't ask that you want to, spill, or do you just want to say, Mark, you suck? Thanks for having me on. Goodbye. Or this is your time. What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I think we talked about pretty much everything. I'm a Ghostbusters collector. That's Back to the Future collector. I'm a Harry Potter collector. I mean,
You really do love movies. I thought when I thought that was going to come up later, earlier on when I asked about, because I did see you were crazy for Ghostbusters. Crazy
definitely.
For Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, I when I went to go see Afterlife in theaters the day it came out, and there's that one scene. I'm not going to give it away because I don't know if a lot of people haven't seen it yet, but the scene you'll see, you'll understand why a grown ass man bawled like a baby. And I'm like, oh my God. My girlfriend looked over at me and said, why are you crying? I said, you just don't understand. You just don't understand.
Get ready. This is what my wife's going to bring back when she listens to this episode. I cried at Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
And I was mad at the end. I hate the way it ended. So it's all right to cry. It's all right to cry as a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't the only guy that cried in that theater. I heard other sniffling going on while I was there.
Good.
So,
We'll let it all out.
Yeah.
Eddie, Scarecrow, Fast Eddie, whatever you want to call yourself at the end of this podcast, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I mean this. Awareness to, you've hit one person at least. If you hit more, awesome, but you hit me, worried about my health. I'm glad we connected on the whole mental health thing as well. I didn't know this podcast was going to go that way. And it's really cool. It's gonna give me something to float around a little bit today and not be down in the dumps or hungover anymore because you woke me up. And thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Like I said, you got my number now, dude. If you ever get down in the dumps, just reach out.
Yeah, for sure. Vice versa. And I can't wait once this freaking weather breaks. We're coming out to Indiana. You know what I want to see? I want to see you punch Ref Ryan.
If I'm a heel,
I don't care. I don't care, good or bad.
All right. I mean, I can, because I'm that character that I don't give a hell.
Ryan, I'm sorry.
Do what I want.
Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan. I love you, bro, but I got to do this.
Yep, it's part of the contract in Can Crushers. You have to do it.
Yep.
Eddie, thanks for stopping by today. I had a blast. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and like I said, I'll see you real soon.
All righty, no problem.
I don't even know where to start. So this went from a wrestling podcast to a storytelling podcast to essentially a self-help podcast, essentially to I have a friend in Indiana that anytime I need to call to save my life, to talk wrestling, to talk me off of a building because Superman's not going to come and save me, I now have a true friend because we spent a little time off air talking about things that I literally did not know. I did not know, along with a lot of you that are listening, might not have known that Eddie had a heart attack and had to step away for a while, still grinding back into the business. And then, if you know that mental health runs rampant in my head. It really does. So that is something that I think everybody should be aware of. I think everybody needs to talk about it. I think everybody needs to let it be in the forefront now. Yeah, this is a wrestling podcast, but you know what this really is? This is a connection podcast for people like me and Eddie to get our stories out and let everybody know. And guys, off the top of my head, I can't tell you what we talked about wrestling on this. I will go back and listen to it when I edit it and say, oh man, yeah, we talked about that, we talked about this, and I know I made bad guesses, but that's not what's resonating with me right now. It is resonating that it's okay to cry. And if Mark wants to shut down the computer right now and go sit in a corner and cry and have my family around me, it's okay. Guys, it's okay. We have feelings too. So let it be known. We're all there for you. Again, the suicide number is tagged to this. You have friends. Remember that. I love you guys. Eddie loves you guys. The wrestling community loves you guys. You're not alone. So don't let it be that way. This was a fun interview, but this hit more home than you know. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.